Welcome to Words of Wisdom. Join me as we explore the brilliant minds that shaped our past and discover how their philosophies resonate in our modern world.
Discovering your Ikigai, the point where purpose meets passion. Join us as we explore how this ancient concept applies to the modern world.
So, you've probably heard of Ikigai, right? It's that Japanese concept that's been packaged and sold as the secret to a long, happy, and meaningful life. But what if I told you the version that's all over the internet isn't, well, the whole story? Okay, let's get into it.
Yeah, this diagram. I bet you've seen this one before. It's everywhere. It presents Ikigai as this perfect, magical sweet spot right in the middle of four things: what you love, what you're good at, what the world needs, and what you can get paid for. It looks so clean, right? So simple, like a treasure map to your one true purpose.
It's a really compelling idea, for sure. But here's the question that sent us down this whole rabbit hole. Is this neat little Venn diagram actually what Ikigai means in Japan? Well, the answer is way more interesting than you might think. To really get it, we have to go back to the source. Let's peel back all the internet hype and take a look at what Ikigai truly means in its original Japanese context, long before it ever became a viral trend. The word itself actually gives us our first big clue. See, Ikigai is made up of two parts: Iki, which means life, and Gai, which means value or worth. So if you put them together, it literally translates to a life worth living or a reason for being. It's this beautiful, broad idea about what makes your life feel valuable to you.
And this is where that popular diagram really misses the mark. In Japan, Ikigai isn't necessarily about your career at all. It can be found in connecting with your family and friends, getting lost in a hobby you love, or just, savoring the simple, quiet moments of your day. It's about the small things that give you a sense of purpose. Okay, so if that's the real meaning, then where on earth did the four-circle diagram come from? This is the fun part. Let's play detective and trace the bizarre journey of how this thing came to be.
So the trail starts back in 2009, when a popular TED Talk about longevity in Okinawa threw the word Ikigai into the global spotlight. Then, a few years later, a Spanish astrologer named Andrés Susunaga made a Venn diagram, but he put the Spanish word for purpose in the middle. The final piece of the puzzle came in 2014, when a blogger named Mark Wynn just swapped out purpose for Ikigai, and boom, it went viral. And this really gets to the heart of the issue. As author and neuroscientist Ken Mogi puts it, this diagram is a Western take on a Japanese idea. It's a simplification that kind of loses all the subtle, beautiful nuance of the original concept. But the single biggest change, the one that really twisted the original meaning, was adding that circle, what you can be paid for. Suddenly, this deep concept about your reason for living got directly tied to your job and how much money you make. And that's the fundamental difference right there. True traditional Ikigai can have absolutely nothing to do with money. Your Ikigai could be tending your garden, taking care of your grandkids, or volunteering in your community. It doesn't have to earn you a dime to make your life feel worthwhile. All right, so we've kind of debunked the viral myth, but that leaves a question. Is there a more structured, maybe more robust way to think about purpose? Well, it turns out scientists have been looking into that. Okay, whoa, this looks super complicated, I know. But don't click away. This is a scientific model that researchers developed to understand how Ikigai actually works as a psychological process. It looks like a lot, but the core idea is actually really simple and pretty powerful. We can actually boil that whole complex chart down into a simple input, process, output model. Think of it like this. The inputs are all the things that make you you, your personality, your values, your surroundings. The process is how you interact with the world, your mindset, your motivation. And the outputs, those are the results: better health, well-being, and performance. So, what's the engine driving this whole process? It's fueled by two really key psychological concepts. The first is self-determination theory, which just says that we all have these basic needs to feel good at what we do, to feel in control of our lives, and to feel connected to other people. The second is mindfulness, just being aware and present in the moment. And here's the most important takeaway from this whole scientific view. Ikigai isn't some destination you arrive at. It's not a treasure you find and then you're done. It's a continuous, dynamic process. It's a journey, not a static endpoint.
Now, all this doesn't mean we should just throw that four-circle diagram in the trash. We just need to look at it differently. What if we stop seeing it as the definition of Ikigai and start using it as a practical tool specifically for finding more meaning at work?
If you reframe it this way, the diagram suddenly becomes a really useful framework, both for individuals and for leaders who want to make work feel more meaningful. Let's look at how that actually plays out in the real world. For that first circle, what you love or passion, check out what the manufacturing company Komatsu does. They let their employees spend 5% of their time on passion projects. That's a direct way to let people explore what truly excites them. For what you're good at, your skills, Adobe encourages its engineers to teach classes on their expertise. It lets them use their strengths in a new way, which is a huge boost for feeling competent and engaged. And for what the world needs, or your impact, Patagonia is the classic example. They help their staff go on environmental service trips, connecting their day jobs directly to a cause they care about. Finally, for what you can be paid for, or livelihood, companies like Unilever are proven you can mix profit and purpose. They back entrepreneurs who are solving big social problems with their businesses. It's a win-win. So we end up with two different but totally valid ways of looking at Ikigai. On one side, you've got the original Japanese philosophy, this broad, personal, holistic reason for living that you can find in small, everyday moments. And on the other, you've got this modern, Western framework, a practical tool for finding purpose in your professional life. And here's the really beautiful part, you don't have to choose. These two ideas aren't fighting each other. You can find your Ikigai while gardening or spending time with family, and use the four-circle framework to make your career more meaningful. And that leaves us with one final question for you to think about. Now that you know the whole story, where will you look for your own reason for being? Is it at that grand intersection of a perfect career? Or maybe, just maybe, it's waiting for you in the simple, quiet moments of your everyday life.